year 1993 is when the world was truly introduced to dinosaurs on the silver screen with Jurassic Park, and the results of that, we mainly saw the technological advancements and in recent years maybe advancements of CGI, rather than the fate of what could have been even cooler, which would have been more dinosaur movies. Dinosaurs are fucking cool. We all know this, of course, and yet there's only really a handful of dinosaur movies in the modern age to choose from. But I think there should be a hell of a lot more. Thankfully, filmmaker David Robert Mitchell thought the exact same thing with his newest release, The End of Oak Street. Mitchell's previous film was Under the Silver Lake, a movie that upon first viewing for me, I fell in love with instantly, just for how audacious the movie is from start to finish. So naturally, anything the guy was going to do next, of course, I'd be more than interested in, and we're going to take a look at it today. Before we get into this review, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like on this video, as it really helps me out a lot. I'm going to start by talking about the performances, leading with Ewan McGregor, who's known for his roles in movies like Trainspotting and Dr. Sleep. I really hate to say it, but I thought McGregor wasn't all that great in this movie. I definitely think it doesn't help that there seems to be the choice to give McGregor all of the really bad lines of dialogue, which was definitely quite odd. On top of that, he has a pretty bad American accent, which he is desperately trying to maintain for the entire runtime. I'm not saying he loses it at any point, but you can certainly tell that he's doing everything in his power to keep it, which is very different, of course, from making you believe it. As for his character, there isn't a whole lot to him. He seems to possess this optimism, whether it's genuine or if it's just a front. At the same time, there's this wounded side to his character that doesn't really get explored all too much, unfortunately. Anne Hathaway is in this movie too. Hathaway is known for her roles in movies like Interstellar and The Devil Wears Prada. I thought she did well in her role in this movie. She does a good job at balancing the sympathetic side while also having a stoic, headstrong manner whenever her character is put in perilous situations. She's given a handful of emotional moments in the movie, which she handles well too. She was able to showcase bewilderment and terror in such quick succession in different sequences that keep you engaged with her character. Convery is in this movie as well. He's known for his roles in movies like Del Toro's Frankenstein and The Monkey. Convery was pretty good in this movie. I think this guy is starting to have a pretty good career with his last couple of roles, especially before he's even 20. There's a lot of points where his character is put through some of the horror adjacent moments in the movie, and he conveys his terror pretty well, making the situations feel really believable to the point where you feel sympathetic towards his character. Moving on from the performances, I want to get into the plot of this thing. I found it cool that they chose to set this movie in the 80s, and they thankfully did this in the most non-nostalgia baity way possible, because I'm sure, as you know, as much as I do, the general public, surely at this stage, is pretty sick of the nostalgia bait that plagues media that is set in the 80s, which is definitely because of the likes of Stranger Things especially. But here it just happens to be the decade they decided to set the movie in without it being too egregious. It doesn't take too long for the dino stuff to get going in the movie, thankfully. There's a bit of mystery as it gets set up, which is pretty interesting, but I gotta say, I actually think it was a good decision for them to not explain exactly why this event ends up happening. I was terrified that there was going to be a third act plot twist where it was going to be revealed that the reasoning for the events of the movie is happening because of some scientific government conspiracy. But nope, it seems to really honestly just be because of a ripple in time-space in a way with no explanation, and sometimes you just need no explanation at all in some movies like this, in my humble opinion anyway. I was shocked going into this movie to discover that it had somewhat of a short runtime, clocking in at just an hour and 39 minutes, which in fairness does lead to quite a few issues, admittedly. There's an angle where McGregor and Hathaway's character are attempting to divorce, as there seems to be marital struggles that never get fully explored here. I thought the dinosaur angle was somehow going to have some double meaning related to the marriage, but it's mainly just a character plot that doesn't exactly go anywhere. To make up for that though, there's a lot of really fun and thrilling moments of the family interacting with the dinosaurs. I don't think there's true iconic dinosaur moments in the same way Jurassic Park has, but there is still some cool stuff to showcase here. There's a cool, thrilling sequence where a Spinosaurus tries to attack people in a car, and it keeps you very engaged. There's another scene where Anne Hathaway shoots a dinosaur in the face with a shotgun, and it's shit like that you just really don't see in the modern day Jurassic World movies, for example. The structure of this film feels very akin to a type of campfire story or even a Goosebumps concept, as once the plot really gets going, it's mainly about the people in the movie trying to survive until the movie is over, and that's really truly entertaining to watch. I do think the third act of this movie is a tiny bit strange. Surprisingly, it's very similar to the likes of Donnie Darko, if that movie had a more positive ending, which is all I'll say about that. I say it's strange as watching in the moment made me question Anne Hathaway's character's motives for a split second, but in context for a character, I think it works probably just fine. Next, I want to talk about the cinematography in this. The cinematography in this movie was done by Mike Giolakis, who shot movies like Under the Silver Lake and Split. I thought this movie was shot well. There's a scene where the whole family are talking, and at one point there's at least 4 split diopters used in an attempt to make characters feel trapped, so I thought it was utilized pretty well during this scene. Other than that, there isn't a whole bunch of really special cinematography techniques used in the movie, but it still looks visually good. Apparently through editing, there was filters used in order to create a film style look to the movie, which helped making it look better. I definitely wish they could have used actual film, but instead it's not a major complaint or anything. The visual effects in this movie, thankfully, are pretty good. I thought it was great that the dinosaurs looked as accurate as there's been accounts of dinosaurs having fur, instead of the scaly textures that many movies, including Jurassic Park, had showcased before. And with this in mind, they all looked great. The big dinos had an essence to them that made them look pretty intimidating in many shots. The more smaller ones are designed to move quick and are entertaining to see on screen. It was even entertaining to see herbivore dinosaurs interact with either people or other dinosaurs in the movie, as they felt like animals that could thrive in a modern day climate. A movie like this needs its visuals to work, and while the CGI is done well here, I think at times I found myself loving the practical effects in this movie even more, because trust me, when you're watching a movie, you can tell the difference, and that's not a complaint in the slightest. I think it's great that there was a push for practical effects in this movie, as it made the scenes that featured them all that more enjoyable. I suppose all I really have left to talk about in this movie is the music. The score for this movie was composed by Michael Giacchino. Giacchino is known for composing scores for movies like The Incredibles and The Batman. I thought the score for this movie was great. It did a good job of trying to capture an almost John Williams-esque style while feeling completely original all on its own. It does a good job of balancing whimsy while also being thrilly all at once. During action scenes, it really ramps up with its use of horns, which were always delightful to hear. Overall, I enjoyed this movie a lot. One aspect I really liked was that during the scenes of people being killed by dinosaurs, they made it pretty chilling, which gives me hope that we're moving even closer to getting a fully fledged dinosaur horror movie. Some people tend to call Jurassic Park this, but it's pretty tame when you compare it to a lot of the content that's featured in that book and the movie that it's based off of. I wouldn't strictly call this a horror or anything, but there was an effort to make scenes here bordering on being a little scary. I think there is to be said about this movie that its main concern is being a good fun time. It's a little less keen on its writing, which is definitely the weakest aspect, as it fills me with dread that the writers almost are being forced to comply with the idiotic logic of a Netflix movie on how you need to have your characters explaining what's happening and how they're feeling, so that the people that are watching the movie on their phones in their living rooms can still pick up on what's going on. And that to me just doesn't sit well with me, as film is first and foremost a visual medium. Show don't tell. Ever heard of it? It doesn't become too overbearing, but it still rears its ugly head, that I feel like with even a stronger script, this could have exceeded its already pretty good stature. One more draft, at the very least, I feel like could have been warranted here. This movie definitely clears any of the Jurassic World movies, though, I will say that. I've never been so thrilled and entertained as I was watching this than I am watching the Jurassic World movies. Instead, in that franchise's case, I'm either bored or I'm scratching my head in pure frustration at how bad those films are. Sadly, because that name isn't attached to this movie, I'm not sure how it's gonna go in the long run. But it seems to me that David Robert Mitchell is less concerned with box office residuals and has a more important mission of bringing us just great movies. I'm giving The End of Oak Street 4 stars. This movie is full of a mixed bag of performances. It's particularly disappointing to see Ewan McGregor not give his best here, but at least Anne Hathaway specifically makes up for it with a really good performance from start to finish. The main thing this movie does have to offer, however, is a great display of effects and a truly thrilling dinosaur movie. I found myself smiling like an idiot at a lot of moments in this thing, just for how silly this thing gets in a few places. But for me, it was enough to have a fun time with this. It definitely helps, I think, that this movie is short and sweet to watch. However, to that extent, maybe that hurts some of the deeper character moments we maybe could have gotten here. But naturally, the movie is more concerned over being exciting more than anything, and I can understand that to a certain degree. The End of Oak Street is currently running in theaters right now, and I believe that this movie, just like any other movie, should be seen on the big screen.